Hi, my name is Corey, and I went to Alexander Ramsey High School in Roseville, Minnesota in the 80s, where Susan Capistrant also graduated. She graduated in 1983, and I graduated in 1987, the year that she was killed. Although we didn't know each other through school, we did know each other through social circles, and we did hang out with a lot of the same people. I did know her brother Bob, her older brother Bob, and her younger brother Dave. So we did have a connection, and I always wondered what happened after I graduated. Did they ever solve the case? And so, kind of moving forward, I always thought about Sue. I always had it in the back of my head. There was another little connection that made me feel guilty for not having gone to the police back in the 80s. And so I was always thinking about it. But 2020 comes along and COVID takes us all out of our norm, and I'm home scrolling on my phone, and I come across a comment on the Roseville site from Tracy Aspinwall, who asked if Sue's killer was ever found. And this made me think that I'm not the only one wondering after all these years. So I created the Facebook group, Who Killed Susan Capistrant, in order to get people talking about the case again. And hopefully somebody maybe thinking it's an insignificant part of a clue or something might say something and it would rejuvenate the case. Shortly after I created the group, I was contacted by Detective Brady Martin, who assured me that the case was never closed and he was working on the case now with renewed eyes. And so together we talked about the case, and I filled him in with anything that I could remember from the 80s. And over the last 5 years, with his hard work, dedication, and empathy to get Susan's story out there, Detective Brady Martin has gotten us many of the answers that we have been asking for almost 40 years. So I want to thank Detective Brady Martin for his hard work, dedication, and empathy. And just, there's just no words. Thank you so much for working so hard for Sue, for her family, and for the community of Roseville.
Welcome, everyone. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really chilling cold case. Roseville, Minnesota, back in 1987.
Yeah, the unsolved murder of Susan Elizabeth Capistrant. She was only 22.
Our mission here is to unpack the source material we have, look at the facts, the questions still hanging out there.
And maybe get some deeper insights into, how these cold case investigations actually work or sometimes stall.
Exactly. It's fascinating how a case in a place like Roseville, where homicide was pretty rare, can just stay so mysterious.
It really shows how just one unanswered question can cast a shadow for, decades now.
Right. So let's start with Susan. Get a feel for who she was. She worked at 1 Hour Martinizing, the dry cleaners.
That's right. But interestingly, the sources say she didn't actually have keys to the place.
And at home, things were a little tense. Her dad wasn't happy. She was still living there at 22.
Yeah, apparently that led to her, sneaking out sometimes. There's also mention acquaintances described her dealing a bit. Small-time drugs?
Psychedelic mushrooms, specifically, the sources mention.
Right. And how much does that play into it? It's hard to say. But there's another odd detail just before her death.
Oh, yeah?
Her purse was stolen at a Marshall's. She lost about $90.
But her keychain was found later.
It was. And the thief, when caught, claimed they gave the keys to a friend. Police apparently thought it was just a coincidence, but...
But it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Strange detail to just brush off.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's pivot to her last night. The timeline is so crucial here. April 7th, 1987.
She was out with her best friend, who was also her ex-boyfriend, Brad Rook.
And her brother David was there, too, at Patrick's Lounge.
They all got home around 12:30 a.m.
And this is where it gets really critical, that phone call.
Yeah, between 12:30 and 1 a.m., the phone rings. David picks up.
Doesn't recognize the voice?
Nope. The caller just says he's John and asks for Susan.
So Susan takes the call. Her mom, Jean, sees her before she leaves, the last person to see her alive.
And then she's gone. We have no idea if she walked out on her own, if someone picked her up. Nothing.
Just vanishes into the night. Until the next morning.
Right. Around 7:30 a.m., an 11-year-old girl, Dawn Cartney, finds her.
An absolutely horrific discovery. Susan's body, nude, face down, in the alley right behind the 1-hour Martinizing where she worked.
And no clothes, no purse, nothing of hers was ever found nearby.
Just awful. I read the 911 operator initially thought the girl's call might be a prank.
It just shows how unthinkable something like this was in Roseville at the time.
So the investigation starts. Police determine the cause of death pretty quickly.
Strangulation, asphyxia. They ruled it a homicide.
And their early theory was important. They believe she knew her killer. Or killers.
Which brings us right back to
John. The mysterious caller. He immediately becomes a primary focus. Who was he? What did they talk about?
Exactly. What could possibly make her leave the house like that so late?
And then there's the whole situation with Brad Rook, her friend and ex. The police looked at him hard.
They did. Questioned him multiple times. He passed 2 lie detector tests.
Which you'd think would clear him, or at least lessen the suspicion.
Well, yes and no. Lie detector tests, they aren't foolproof. They aren't generally admissible in court for a reason.
Right. And later on, he apparently seemed really anxious, asking friends about alibis.
Yeah, described as frightened and anxious. So even with the past tests, the police later felt the original investigators might have had tunnel vision?
Meaning they focused too much on him, maybe missed other leads?
Potentially.
Yeah.
It shows how that early focus can stick, He carried that suspicion until he died, even though he was never charged or publicly cleared.
And there's one more layer here. Susan's other brother, Bob Capistrant.
Right. The sources mention he apparently believed he knew who the killer was.
But he didn't pursue it, didn't try to bring them to justice.
Apparently not. It's another one of those unsettling quiet spots in the narrative. Just adds to the mystery.
So as we wrap this up, we're left staring at that central question, really.
Who was John?
Yeah. Who called Susan that night? And what happened between her leaving the house and her body being found behind her work?
It really is a stark reminder, isn't it? How one unknown person, one phone call, can just leave a case in limbo for decades.
It makes you think. What part of Susan's story stands out most to you listening? What questions does it leave you with?